The question was, in your opinion, at what point does religious indoctrination of children become child abuse, and why?
That's a complicated question, too.
We both have kids, right?
Yeah.
Because I know so many atheists who don't have kids and don't want any, I feel like, a lot of atheists, when they're presenting their opinions, go way further out on the let's stop parents from doing stuff that will harm their kids bandwagon. I am not saying that religious indoctrination does not often rise to the level of child abuse. It absolutely does. What I do feel as a parent is that all parents, I assume, somewhat like me, are just muddling around not knowing what the hell they're doing and are guaranteed to make a lot of mistakes. And when it comes to teaching kids the way the world is, they can only teach the stuff that they know in many cases, and if they are religiously indoctrinated themselves, then the parents may be ultimately as much the victims as the child, and so you can't necessarily solve it by jumping on every case and saying CPS has got to take the kids away. But totally, there are ways to cross that line, and they happen all the time. When you actually, like, telling your kid something that's wrong, I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of argument and pushback on this one, so I'm trying to be careful. There is a difference between making a dumb mistake and doing something that rises to the level of child abuse legally, and what rises to the level of child abuse conceptually is definitely something where we have room to argue a lot.
Yeah. What
do you think?
It's complicated.
Seems to be the mantra for the show today.
Yeah. Like you said, some things can rise to that level. I think telling a child that they're going to burn in hell forever is abusive.
Yeah.
But at what level should the law step in is what's complicated.
Right.
Obviously, if a child is being hit and beaten, that's child abuse. But there's mental and emotional abuse exists too, and it's not always obvious at what level telling a kid that something that's factually wrong or even arguable, but the parent believes it, is abusive. I think most parents are doing the best they can. They love their children. They just might be misguided.
Yeah.
I think atheists also can do things that are misguided. And, at what point the law steps in is probably a matter of a lot of debate and scrutiny.
Yeah, and there are a lot of issues that atheists disagree about among each other. For instance, every parent I ask about whether they've taught their kid about Santa Claus seems to have a different answer and a different reason for going that way. I personally did not go with the Santa Claus myth, and I don't necessarily, I don't personally advise anyone to teach their kids about Santa Claus, but this isn't a big enough issue for me that I feel like getting in a fight with any parents who say, oh, but without Santa Claus, we wouldn't have an opportunity to use their childlike wonder and enhance their appreciation of the holidays and family. And I mean, I may think that's a load of bunk, but I'm certainly not going to try to take their kids away for that.
Right.
And I don't think the arguments are so bad that I would even fight them very hard on the whole Santa Claus thing. Maybe I think that just teaching some religious belief, like maybe I think that some political beliefs are so harmful that they're worse than just teaching your kids that Jesus loves you or whatever. But again, that's just me. And one of my values is that you don't necessarily get to impose your personal preferences on people unless it rises to the level of something very serious and harmful, which some religion does, again.